Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I'm stopping. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, if you are listening to the sound of my voice, you already know you're tuned into another episode of Marking Out Amongst Friends, the podcast. It's me, your boy, Jay Riddy in the building. And you know, if I'm here, I'm never here alone. In the building with me also is the First Lady of What You Ask, the First Lady of Swerves and Curves. Not just one or the other, it's both of them. Give it up to Lady Great One.
Thank you. How are my people doing tonight? We've got a great show coming up, so stay tuned.
Damn straight. Y'all know what week this is. This is WrestleMania week. This is the biggest week in wrestling every single year. If you are a wrestling fan and you are not excited, nor are you watching anything wrestling related this week, then are you really a wrestling fan? Are you really? But regardless of the fact, you know what we got coming on this week. Friday night, we got the NXT Takeover New York. Saturday night, we got...
I know that's an interesting twist. Hold on. That's an interesting twist right there because we're so used to it being on Saturday takeovers. It's hard to say Friday takeover.
It is a little weird now that you mentioned it. It's a little weird to say takeover this Friday night. But we got takeover this Friday night. We got the WWE Hall of Fame happening Saturday night. And of course, you know, Sunday, we got the granddaddy of them all on the grandest stage of them all. 16 whole matches that we're going to have to pretty much pace ourselves through because, you know, as much of a wrestling fan as I am, that's going to be a lot of wrestling to watch in one sitting. You know, I got to pace myself. Sometimes, you know, your eyes get bigger than your stomach every now and then. But before we jump into any of that, and before we discuss any of Mania weekend, we are not going to go any further without me hitting my damn music. Let's go.
He looks like a fan.
Yeah. Marking out.
He was marking out, man.
450 off the top with the topics. Leader of the new school, ain't no way to stop us. Mark it out, screaming loud, tell me who you with. Competition is none, cause we lunatics. Walk with me down these roads if you're all in. I love the feeling, baby, time to go to work again. Come together like a fist and we do it proud. Light it up and burn it down, cause we marking out.
He was marking out, man.
All right. So once again, we got a jam-packed show tonight. We just rocking it out right now, me and Lady Great One, as we always do, the dynamic duo of podcast. Brothers and sisters in real life. We know each other in real life. This ain't no thing where we just came up with a show and we just met each other and we were like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Hey, you want to do a podcast? No, this has been in the works for years, and this is one of my favorite times to be able to do this show. Because there's nobody in this world I would rather be doing this show with than Lady Great One, especially for WrestleMania. So where do you want to...
Jay Riddy, I appreciate the love. Hold on. We can't jump into that. You can't just give somebody an introduction like that and not have me not respond. I mean, come on now. You know me. You know there's no place I'd rather be right now than right here talking Mania with my boy Riddy. I mean, come on now. You know you're my fan. Come on. It's deeper than that. It's blood.
Damn straight. Deeper than any of y'all can even imagine right now. Like, I don't even care who's listening right now. Like, actually, I do care. Please, like, you know, if you're out here listening, follow us, you know, on Facebook, Marking Out Amongst Friends on Facebook. You know, listen to us on Player FM. Listen to us on iTunes, on Google Play. Listen to our podcast. We do this for you guys. We do it mainly for us, but we do it for you guys too. Anyway, where do you want to start off on the show tonight? We got a jam-packed weekend. We got a lot of topics that we want to discuss. Naturally, because TakeOver is the first event that's going to really kick off the weekend, so to speak. We can jump into Takeover, or if you want to discuss the Hall of Fame, we can do the Hall of Fame. You know, I'm realizing that I do a lot of the takeovering, and I do, no pun intended, but I do a lot of taking over when it comes to, you know, leading on the topics. So if you want to jump in and, you know, segue into anything, this is your opportunity right here.
Well, since we're so used to having the Hall of Fame first, let's go ahead and dive right into the Hall of Fame. Just because it was tradition that the Hall of Fame comes before Takeover, which comes before WrestleMania. This year, we're getting a little bit of a twist on that. I graced upon that a little bit earlier. So how do you feel, honest to goodness, about the entrance into the 2019 class of the Hall of Fame? Honestly, all of them, not just one, because there's one that sticks out for me, and we'll get to that.
So I'm pretty much happy. I think that everybody that's getting inducted definitely deserves to be inducted. There's a lot of my personal favorites that are going to be getting inducted. First and foremost, the Hart Foundation. Anybody that knows me, if you know Jay Ritty in the building, in real life, you know my favorite wrestler of all time is the excellence of execution. The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. The Hitman, Bret Hart. And because of Jim Neidhart's passing last year, you know, you definitely knew that this was definitely going to end up coming. Another one of my individual favorites, and, you know, Mr. VIP gives me a hard time about this one all the time. Even to the point where I trolled him a little bit in the Game Runners earlier today. Follow us on Facebook, Game Runners. But Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Surprisingly, Brutus the Barber Beefcake is one of my favorite gimmicks and one of my favorite guys that I liked as a kid growing up. I think that a lot of people overlooked how talented he was because he didn't win a whole lot of titles. But I'm happy with that. And, of course, everybody's pissed off about Torrie Wilson. Honky Tonk Man's long overdue. You know, I could go on and on about this one. I'm really excited about this Hall of Fame, personally. What about you? How do you feel about this one?
Well, obviously, I'm going to start off with the negative. Go ahead and get that negative out of the way. Torrie Wilson was definitely a topic for debate for me, especially when there are so many other women, in my opinion, who were so much more deserving of getting that induction spot. But I'm not going to say any names. But either way, yeah, Torrie was I'm like, really, what did she do? She was a pretty face. She was a diva in the Divas era. And yeah, she was in WCW. She had a few memorable moments, but mainly because of her assets, literally.
And what great assets does she have?
Swerves and curves, man. Swerves and curves. I'm coming at you. But anyway, yeah, so Torrie Wilson, yeah, I'll accept it. I don't like it, but I'm going to accept it because it is what it is. She did do her thing while she was there, and yes, she did come back, and she looked really good, and she looked still in incredible shape when she came back for the first ever Women's Royal Rumble last year. She had a good spot at the Battle Royal in the Evolution pay-per-view. So, I mean, yeah, let's go ahead and give Torrie her props. But I'll just say this. I will definitely accept them putting in Torrie Wilson before they put in Kelly Kelly. Thank you, Lord, for that one. Anyway, if y'all know me, there are two women who really get on my nerves a lot of time, and Kelly Kelly is the first one, and the second one I've mentioned on the show many a times. Even though, like, I love her sometimes, and sometimes I hate her. Y'all should know it's the boss. I love to hate and hate to love Sasha Banks. I'll just put it that way. I hate to love her and I love to hate her. But anyway, let's get to the other people who are getting nominated. Brutus the Barber Beefcake, a little bit before my time. age-wise, it's in my time, but wrestling age mentality for me, a little bit before my time, as well as the Honky Tonk Man. Then Harlem Heat. I grew up on Stevie Ray and Booker T. So, yeah, I did pay attention to that, and I'm so glad that Booker T is getting his second ring, not to mention the fact that this is the only other African-American, or the only African-American to have 2 rings. Count them, 1, 2, for the Hall of Fame. So that alone right there is just like leaps and bounds, because the man definitely deserves it, and I'm so glad that they're actually honoring his brother as well. And then lastly, we have the Hart Foundation. Bret Hart makes him a 2-timer, and you can't go wrong with the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be, as well as Jinder Anvil, not Hart. I'm sorry?
I said no, you can't. That's what I was agreeing with you. You can't get any better than that.
It doesn't get any better than that, and I'm glad that Natalya is going to be able to induct her father or accept this on her father's behalf. Rest in peace, Jinder Anvil. But that was really, really sad. And that was really personal, because that happened to the show that we were going to. The news broke that same morning on Raw, where we were going to that show, that her father had passed away. So I will never forget that particular Monday, because Ronda Rousey was out there in the ring and she made a speech about it. And she was consoling her friend at the time, Natalya, but us women, we don't get along for too long before somebody turns their back on each other. But then again, it's also wrestling in real life.
It's interesting. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, and truth is stranger than fiction. But go ahead, what you were going to say.
It's interesting. It's interesting that you brought up that fact, that we went to that show. I was actually just thinking about that. That was definitely one of the toughest things to kind of get through as a huge fan of the Hart Foundation, mainly Brett, but as a huge fan of the Hart Foundation, it was tough to hear that Jinder Anvil Neidhart had passed. I remember going to that show. If you guys follow us on Facebook, Marking Out Amongst Friends, the page, our actual profile picture, our real life profile picture with you and I in it, was us standing in line waiting to get into the arena that day to see that Raw. So it was definitely memorable. I remember Ronda Rousey coming out there cutting a promo. I remember her standing outside during the match and getting attacked by a flying bat that came out of nowhere. It was interesting. That show was definitely going to be memorable. Also, it was the return of Dean Ambrose that show as well, and it was the go home episode before SummerSlam. So that specific episode of Raw is definitely going to be one that I just remember personally for years to come. But I also want to touch back on Tori Wilson before I get off task here. Now, and you guys bear with me, it's springtime, and my allergies are like really kicking my ass right now. But Tori Wilson may not have been this amazing wrestling technician, so to speak. And I think that because we are in the era that we are now, where you have your Charlottes, your Beckys, your Baileys, your Sashas, you got your Asukas, you got these women coming from NXT. You got a lot of people who are, putting on wrestling clinics now. And I feel like a lot of people think that Tori Wilson getting inducted into the Hall of Fame is kind of counteractive to the whole women's revolution. And I actually think it's the opposite. If we want to celebrate women of wrestling, we can't cherry pick who we can celebrate and who we don't want to celebrate. We have to celebrate all of the women. And Tori Wilson was in the WWE during a time frame where there were a lot of women who were still getting over, even with people like Trish Stratus and, Lita around, they were getting over without having to, go out there and get put through a table or jump off of a cage or, get powerbombed into something. Tori Wilson, if nothing else, she was memorable enough for us to know exactly who she was, when they announced that she was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. She paved her own way, admittedly said that she didn't watch wrestling when she was younger, which a lot of people aren't even brave enough to admit that. But to still carve out a career, Playboy model, you know, I think she's done music at one point, has got her own clothing line. There's a lot of stuff that she's done, and I feel like, you know, we got to celebrate for her for what she was able to do as far as bringing fans into wrestling at that point. Now, do I think that she's a top 20 or 50 women's wrestler of all time? God, no. But do I think that she deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? If you ask me, in the words of the famous Mills Lane, I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. Celebrity death match. I'll allow it.
I used to love that show.
Oh, that show.
I used to love it. Another interesting fact he brought up, it's a lot of, Booker T being the first African-American to be inducted twice is definitely a big deal. But you got a lot of people in here that's being inducted twice into the Hall of Fame. Brett, already a Hall of Famer alone, gets inducted twice now as a member of the Hart Foundation. HBK, also a Hall of Famer, now getting inducted with D-Generation X. You know, the Honky Tonk Man is way overdue. If I don't say anything else about the Hall of Fame, if there's nothing else that I had on my mind about the Hall of Fame, Honky Tonk Man probably should have been inducted to the Hall a good decade ago at least. I mean, there's not a gimmick that was like his back in the day. There hasn't been any since. The closest thing that we have to a Honky Tonk Man in this generation would be Elias. And you see how great Elias is. You know, the Honky Tonk Man is another one. He might not have been the greatest wrestler of all time, but you got to admit that was one of the best gimmicks of his time.
I agree with that, but wasn't he also at one point in time the longest reigning Intercontinental Championship?
Absolutely. I think that he had the longest, I want to say the longest consecutive reign. I can't remember if he has the longest total reign. And we can come back to that one a little later on in the show if you want. But I don't think that he has the longest total reign. But I think he has
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I think that he's the longest, he had the longest reign consecutive days as champion.
That was until The Miz broke it.
Let's see.
Either way, while you're fact checking that, I didn't honestly get finished because there's no way in the world I'm going to say anything about the Hall of Fame without mentioning DX. I talked about everybody else except for DX. And y'all know when y'all were in high school, at least me, when I was in middle school, high school, I was running around getting in trouble for yelling those two infamous words.
Come on now, talk to them. They don't know about this. This is culture.
I mean, there was not a day that goes by in which somebody didn't cross their hands in the X over their crotch and go suck it. And that still applies right now to this day. I still find myself referencing those suck it moments where they needed to be said. I get somebody who just aggravates me. I got two words for you. You know, finish the rest. If you're a wrestling fan, or even if you're not a wrestling fan, at some point in time in your life, you've had somebody crotch chop you with an X talking about suck it. And if you're not a wrestling fan, then why are you listening to our podcast? Unless you're just a fan of me, and I appreciate you. And I love you, and I want you to come back.
Absolutely. There are many people who probably listen to the podcast just to hear the sound of Lady Great One's voice. DX! I don't even know what I can say about DX, man. Like, other than just the only word that I can think of that sums it up for me growing up, that was culture. DX was our wrestling culture. Like you said, that age, that range between middle schoolers and high schoolers. You know, we've all gotten in trouble, probably got kicked out of class or got detention, or, you know, in the South, we had in-school suspension. You know, you got in trouble, and when your teacher turned you back, suck it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, that's part of what we did. And you didn't do it the regular way. You know, you didn't do the regular chop. You had to cross the arms when you do it. You know, that was culture. there's nothing more wrestling culture in the 90s than DX chopping somebody or walking around with either a DX shirt on or an NWO black and white or black and red shirt. That was culture.
Don't forget the Rock Fools, the Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt that said Rock Fools.
The Smoking Skull shirt. There's nothing more culture than that. There's nothing more culture than we grew up. And you know what? When The Rock was really cooking folks on the mic back in the day, there was nothing more culture than getting somebody at school. Maybe it's a new kid. Maybe it's somebody who doesn't watch wrestling, and just walking up to them and saying, "Hey, what's your name?" And as soon as they get ready to answer, you know what's coming in.
My name is.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
What your name is.
There was nothing more satisfying than that when I was a kid. When I tell you that wrestling was life in middle school. It was culture. It was more than just wrestling fan. Wrestling was pop culture back then. You know, so when I talk about wrestling nowadays, from an analytic standpoint, it's because it don't feel the same now than it did when we were there. And just thinking of DX, like, they had so much to offer other than just Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Like, these kids now that are probably like 15 or younger, and you say DX, they just think of Shawn Michaels, and they think of Triple H in the old days of DX and Shawn Michaels kicking, Steve in the back, a.k.a. Who was it? The guy that just got released. It's coming to me. It just left. Ty Dillinger. Him getting super kicked in the back of Steve. That's the only DX that these young kids know. But they don't know the joys of just seeing somebody like the Road Dogg come out, the New Age Outlaws coming out, and participating in the promo every week.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, D Generation X proudly presents to you the Road Dogg Jesse James, the Bad Age Billy Gunn, the New Age Outlaws. And yes, I edited it, cut it.
I was going to say, you got to throw that part in. The Tag Team Champions of the World, the Road Dogg Jesse James, the Bad Billy Gunn, the New Age Outlaws. And if you ain't down
with that, we got 2 words for you. Suck it! With a cross chop included.
Every Marking Out podcast, what do I start off with? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all age, culture. They don't hear us right now. They don't hear me talking about DX right now.
They don't have catchphrases like that anymore.
They don't. They do not.
Like, your best catchphrase that has lasted and spanned the entire nation was one simple word.
Yes.
What?
Oh, yeah, what?
What?
Still to this day.
What?
People chant "want" in the crowd, and they don't even know where it came from. They just do it because other people do
it. What? Exactly.
Like, they don't understand culture. And I'm sorry if I'm ranting right now and I'm going on a little bit off subject and I'm going, on a tangent right now. But DX meant something to my childhood. That was a pivotal time as a wrestling
Our
fan.
Childhood. It's not just yours.
You damn straight. Our childhood. Let's talk. Like, they don't know the joys of Christmas time rolling around, and say you got a Nintendo 64, or maybe you got a PlayStation. If you got a 64, and opening up your presents and getting WrestleMania 2000. They don't know. Like, they get the same game every year.
I never knew that joy. I opened up my Nintendo 64. My first game I opened up was WCW Mayhem. Okay? I opened up Mayhem. And it was great. And I played the crap out of it. And I loved it.
Yeah, see, Mayhem was great. They don't know about the classic games of WWE. And they didn't drop games every year. Specifically, they didn't drop the same damn game every year back in the day. You had WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy, and that lasted you years. You had WCW Mayhem, and it lasted you years. You had WCW versus NWO Revenge, and it lasted for years. To the point where
the Smack It Down with the SmackDown. Also, WWF Warzone. Warzone. Raw is War. Whichever one that they had at that particular time. I think it was both, or maybe it was one or the other. I don't know. I get confused. But I just know that Stone Cold was standing up there and he was flipping you off.
Stone Cold, and he had the little, and this is back before we had good graphics. Like, you kids are spoiled nowadays with these graphics and the stars looking so realistic. We had triangles that we played with back in the day. All right, you had Stone Cold, and his whole hand was one shape, but he was cussing you out on screen. I'll drop you on that stack of dimes. You call a neck. I'll stomp a mud hole in you and walk it dry. They don't know about this culture. You kids you uncultured swine, need to go back to the late 90s and the early 2000s and educate yourself on what impact. I'm sorry?
On the WWE Network.
Absolutely, which you can get for $9.99.
The subscribers, we didn't get paid for this plug. Y'all just there for free promo.
But Trips, if you need to sponsor us, we'll plug it every week if you want us to. I pay for the network.
Every week.
It comes out of my account every month. Sometimes I don't even realize it. You might have $20 in your account. Go to get some lunch and you try to get a $15 meal. Card that declined. WWE Network came out $10. So now you only got $10 left. Now you got to look like an asshole in front of everybody because your card declined. You got to put something back. But I digress.
This is actually a show that we're going to have to come back and visit because this is a very, very, very good topic. I want to revisit this show. Can we do it again, sir?
Yes, we can. We can revisit the show. We can do this topic anytime in the future because a lot of people don't really understand what wrestling was to us coming up. Like what people think that indies are now. Mainstream wrestling back in the late 90s and early 2000s was as good as it gets. And we're not even just talking about WWF. We're not just talking about...
We're barely scratching the surface.
Yeah, we're not even just talking about WCW. ECW was kicking out cable television weekly episodic shows every week.
TNA was actually TNA. It wasn't Impact. It was TNA. Total nonstop action. Helmed by Jeff Jarrett. I mean, come on now.
Like
TNA was great.
You kids out here, when I say Rhino, you guys think of Heath Slater's tag team partner that eats cheese and crackers. You don't know the joys of screaming gore at somebody when they get gore. I watched Rhino pile drive somebody off an apron through a table in ECW. Don't talk to me about what hardcore is in this generation.
Woo!
They don't... Look.
That's a whole nother show that we're going to have to do because we're getting hyped. We get a little too hyped. We digress. It's WrestleMania season, and boy, is we ready.
I'm sorry. It's Mania week. I'm on another level right now. I apologize if y'all are listening. I'm real off task right now, but the DX struck a nerve with me right then because that was my culture. It almost makes you realize that you're getting just a little bit old, just a tad bit. But at the same time, it makes you also appreciate that, damn, I grew up and got to see that from start to finish.
Yes. Woo! Yes. Now, since we're talking about incredible entities, let's talk about his first induction going in, Triple H, and his greatest creation at the helms of holding NXT. So let's go ahead and talk a little takeover. How about that?
Damn straight. NXT TakeOver. We are back in New York for NXT TakeOver this year, specifically in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. TakeOver New York, TakeOver Brooklyn has ties that run deep. We know that years ago, Sasha Banks and Bayley put off probably one of the most classic women's matches ever at NXT TakeOver. You know, and countless other matches, but every time I hear TakeOver in Brooklyn, that's the match that always sticks out to me. That's how you really know that women's wrestling has evolved, because that match right there, period, makes me think about NXT TakeOver New York. But you know how they do. We got 5 matches on the card. And you know it's going to be amazing 5 matches that we got as well. First, we're starting off the show with the War Raiders. They're defending the NXT Tag Team Championships against Aleister Black and Ricochet. Now, we'll get to talking about Aleister Black and Ricochet later in the show, but this is actually one of 2 potential Tag Team Championship opportunities that they have this weekend. So,
which is something that has never been done. Not only are they going for the NXT tag titles, but they're going for the SmackDown tag titles. And all within Ricochet's first full year. Within his first full year. Let me say that again. Swerves and curves coming at you within his first full year.
On top of that,
Ricochet.
On top of that, is he and Aleister Black, not only is it Ricochet's first year, but it's both of their first WrestleManias, and they cap it off with 2 Tag Team Championship opportunities this weekend. 2 of them.
Can we say one and only?
The one and only.
And then we're going to fade to black.
So without any further ado, we can give our predictions on this match. Honestly, every time I hear the War Raiders name, and it's crazy because my favorite team in the NFL is the Oakland Raiders, which are about to be the Las Vegas Raiders. But I still hate that name. I still think it's the most terrible name. Amazing tag team. You know, I love this generation of guys like the War Raiders who are big, huge guys, and people just think that they're just power guys. But those guys can move. Those guys are agile. Some of them, those guys can fly, actually, on top of being powerhouses.
When you look at this team of Hanson and Rowe, you look at Hanson, big old heavyset, full, long beard, long hair, big boy. You look at him, ain't no way in the world is this man doing cartwheels, one-handed cartwheels, moonsaults. I mean, the boy is a big boy. And then you see his partner, who is also smaller in stature, up here doing double power slam, power bomb combinations on one person, holding 2 grown men, doing at the same time a power slam combination at the same time, holding 2 people. I don't think y'all understand the magnitude of how much power that is for a guy who's not even the big guy. That's incredible. That's why I like the Raiders.
I love the team. I hate the name, love the team. And it goes back, and just to touch back, you know, on talking about how wrestling was when I came up. You know, when we came up, we had big guys like Kevin Nash, you know, The Big Show, and, you know, very, very young age, Andre the Giant, The Undertaker, and seeing, you know, guys like The Undertaker be able to, you know, jump over the top rope was unseen. Like, when you saw it, you're like, oh my God, this guy's 7 foot. And now you get more and more guys like the War Raiders, you know, that are coming in and doing stuff like this. You got Keith Lee, you know, who can suicide dive and fly and be agile with the high flyers. You know what I'm saying? You got guys like, what's my tag team? The Heavy Machinery. With my guy Otis doing the worm. 350-pound man.
You mean
doing
the Caterpillar?
I'm sorry, the Caterpillar. Excuse me. Put some respect on that move. The Caterpillar. You got a 350-pound man doing that. We got off of our feet growing up for 78-pound Scotty Suhadi doing the worm. And they got a 350-pound man doing that every week. So I know I might dump on wrestling in this generation every now and then, but the abilities of a lot of the big men in this generation are just uncanny. And pause before I say this, but
say the evolution.
Yeah, the evolution of the big man is just ridiculous. And you know me, once again, if you know me personally, you know that I always like big guys. Pause. In wrestling. Pause again. So to see this is just
right,
like. So. but I mean, just from my background,
like I said, I'm sorry.
I've always liked the guy that can come in and dominate and be the powerhouse, and to be able to in this generation see guys come in who can dominate, be the powerhouse, and be, you know, the high flyer at the same time. This is like some of the best that I get to see. Like, this is something that I love to see in wrestling right now. But enough of really bigging the War Raiders up right now. If I'm going to pick a winner in this match, I'm going to go for the War Raiders in this one. Just because I think that you're going to probably get a 5-star match out of this. Don't get me wrong. You're going to see some amazing spots. But right now, I think that I don't know how long they're wanting to keep up the tag team of Aleister Black and Ricochet, especially on the NXT. So I don't know if they're ready to drop the titles to Aleister Black and Ricochet yet. I think that it's going to more so use this to even more so legitimize the War Raiders. And I think that we'll see another tag team, either one that's already in NXT or a debuting tag team maybe in the next couple of months that's actually going to knock them off of that high horse. So I'm going for the War Raiders in this one. Lady Great One, who you got?
Well, I as well have the War Raiders for this one because I do believe that this is a final goodbye to NXT for Black and Ricochet. I think that this is their last hurrah. And I have a feeling that possibly the Forgotten Sons have not forgotten about their spot, or the Street Profits have prophesied that they're the next ones in line. So either way, I have a feeling that it might be an undisputed tag team that comes back and interferes in this match. But some way, somehow, even if it is no interference whatsoever, the War Raiders are still going to win this one just because I believe that they are going to bid adieu to Aleister Black and Ricochet.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the last stand there, so I definitely agree with you on that one. Next match on the card, Pete Dunne. Talk about the honky tonks reign earlier. Pete Dunne is what? I don't even know how many days he's been the United Kingdom champion for right now.
665.
665?
685.
Oh, 685.
685. When entering in his 685 day when he goes to Takeover tomorrow.
And on top of that, it's not like he's not defending this title. He's pretty much defending this title all the fucking time. This is, I mean, you know, you can't say that, you know, he's sandbagging this whole run. This is probably one of the most impressive runs that I've seen in WWE ever. You know, we've seen CM Punk's modern day run. We've seen The Miz's run. You know, we've seen, who was it, Nikki Bella, that had the long women's championship run. We've even seen the combined runs of Charlotte. You know, so we've seen a lot of impressive, you know, streaks and number of days as people as champion. Hell, throw Asuka in there as well. But 685 days, yo, I gotta give my props to the bruiserweight Pete Dunne for that. Now, with that being said, he's got his fucking hands full this weekend. Friday night, he faces Walter, who's just recently made his debut in WWE, specifically in NXT United Kingdom. A lot of buzz surrounding Walter. I haven't seen much of Walter's matches, but I know two things. A, he's big ass dude. And 2, I remember he slapped the pure piss out of Zack Sabre Jr., and I cannot get that image out of my head. Every time I hear or see Walter's name, that's the only thing that I can think of. And off of that strength alone, Pete Dunne's reign is coming to an end Friday night. I predict that Walter is winning the United Kingdom Championship.
And here I go with your swears and curves. I'm going to say that he is still green in WWE. And I am going to pick Pete Dunne, continuing his long, historically long reign intact. So Pete Dunne is going to continue his reign after Takeover tomorrow. And we're going to get over 700.
Petey Dunne, the bruiserweight. I tell you what, when he gets ready to make his run on the main roster, or maybe he could even, if he does drop the United Kingdom title, maybe he goes to NXT, the regular NXT full-time. You don't know. He's got a lot of things that he could do. But when he gets ready to really be full-time on the main roster, everybody better be on notice, because as much as we're talking about how great he is right now, the thing is, he's still a baby. He's still 25.
Yes.
He just became old enough to rent a car in the United States. You can't rent a car in the United States until you're 25. If you're younger than that, you got to pay a deductible. You know what? I ain't even gonna get on and all that. That's grown people shit. Y'all don't even need to hear that right now. But he's still young. That means that he's got at least 15 to 20 years left in the tank.
Yeah.
And he's already breaking records. He's done so much to put
breaking fingers.
Boy. Oh my goodness.
All I gotta say is y'all better get that grip straight back, you gentlemen. Work on that grip strength.
Oh my goodness. My fingers.
Means 2 things.
But my fingers hurt when I see him bend people's limbs Anyway, next match on the card. Matter of fact, I don't even want to get into these next 2 yet. I want to end the show with these next 2 matches. Or not the show, but end the topic on these next 2 matches. So I'm going to jump straight into the women's fatal 4-way match. Shayna Baszler, currently 2-time NXT champion, current reigning champion, defends her title in a fatal 4-way against Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, and Miss Undefeated Bianca Belair. This was a tough one for me.
I love how they evolved her from actually going from being undefeated as a stat, but being undefeated as a mentality. I love how they evolved that to keep the undefeated.
First of all,
love it.
I love her just because I've never seen, and another thing, if you listen to the show tonight, I'm going to bring up black people a lot tonight. So if you don't like talking about black people, then you can go ahead and turn the show off, at least for this portion anyway. But I love seeing Bianca Belair because she's the perfect representation of somebody who's being naturally themselves, so to speak. Like, you don't get to see a whole lot of black women come in and really portray themselves and get over on top of that. You know, the closest thing that we got to that before Bianca Belair was Naomi. But it's just the way that she talks with so much intensity. It's just like, it's that girl that was just athletic and could do everything in high school and didn't know other girls fuck with her because they knew she'd whip your ass. Like, that's Bianca Belair to me. And I love, like, that whole mentality. So much to the point where I'm saying that she's winning this match tonight. And this is going to be what we're going to see to lead Shayna Baszler, into the main roster to go back up Rousey some point in the next couple of months. And because of recent weeks seeing a lot of interactions between Bianca Belair, Kairi Sane, and Io Shirai, I think that at some point you could see a heel turn for Bianca Belair, and you could see her beefing with one of those two in a long-standing feud.
Or both.
Or both. Hey, what's better than beefing with one girl? Beefing with two.
But at the same time, I feel now I'm gonna go ahead and make my prediction here. And as much as I want to pick Bianca, I'm gonna pick Bianca. I really, if you didn't think I was gonna pick Bianca Belair in this spot, then you must be crazy. You must not know. We're all day. No, but seriously. But I'm just looking at the list of people who are currently there, and the match that I want to see is the EST versus the Blasian Baddie, Mia Yim. And I want them to team together or I want them to fight each other. I don't care. I want them two involved in a match on either the same side or on opposite ends of the ring, because I think that there's a lot more people than they can work with for Bianca than they can with Io or they can with Kyrie, other than the same people, unless Kyrie and Io are going to end up fighting for each other or fighting against each other when they're besties. But that's kind of like the obvious. Like, okay, my best friend won. Yay, I'm happy for you, but I'm going to drop you.
Yeah. Bam! Feud.
Becky Charlotte. Anyway.
So we're both going with Bianca Belair for that one. So far,
Yes.
we agreed on the War Raiders. You're picking Pete Dunne, I'm picking Walter. We've agreed on Bianca Belair, so now we jump into two major matches that these could possibly be match of the year candidates. And yes, first of all, Matt Riddle, as much as I love the Dream, don't get me wrong, I love the Velveteen Dream. Probably my favorite person on NXT right now. But I really like Matt Riddle. Like, I really like Matt Riddle. He's like a mixture of the stoner mentality of RVD.
Yes.
With
the intensity of Brock Lesnar.
The intensity of Brock Lesnar and the technical striking ability of insert whoever the hell you want to insert in there. Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Cassius Ohno, whoever you want to put in. Like, he's a perfect combination of all of those things. And he comes out in flip-flops. Who the hell is going to whoop my ass coming out in flip-flops? Matt Riddle.
The same guy who will jump and do a daggone herky toe touch and kick them some bitches off and both have them fly two different directions is the same guy who's going to tap your ass out.
Hell yeah.
Love it.
I love Matt Riddle.
Love the gift. Love it.
Hell yeah. I hope that he doesn't lose that gimmick for quite some time. I know if he's going to have a long career that he's going to have to, add layers to that gimmick at some point. But all in all, I love his gimmick. The Velveteen Dream, however, is here to elevate the NXT North American Championship. And I don't feel like he's going to lose anytime soon. Also, the thought process is that Matt Riddle, I don't know if he's still on his undefeated streak or not. I know he's been undefeated for a couple of
Yes, he
takeovers.
is. He is still undefeated in singles competition.
During his undefeated streak, if he goes through and beats somebody on the level of Velveteen Dream, which is possible, he could, it's going to make it really hard for me to believe in anybody else coming in and beating him, unless you insert someone into this division that we haven't seen go for that title before. Like someone say, maybe Keith Lee or,
Dominic Dijakovic.
Him too.
He's just nice. Yes, I know. I'm putting in all of their little catchphrases. Yes, I'm doing that all night. Why? Because I can.
It's Mania week. We do what the fuck we want to.
I'm a damn maniac. I'm not a camera crazy, but I'm a maniac.
Hey, what's the name? What's the name of this podcast? Marking out amongst friends.
Marking out amongst friends.
So I'm amongst my friends. You know what the hell I'm gonna do? I'm gonna mark out. Yeah, man.
I'm gonna mark the fuck out.
All right. So with this matchup, once again, I'm going for Velveteen Dream. I would not be surprised if Matt Riddle wins, but logically speaking, I'm thinking that they're going to keep it on Velveteen. They're going to keep this feud going up, and maybe Riddle beats him at a pay-per-view down the line. But as for Brooklyn, Velveteen's coming home with the title around his waist.
Dream over. I'm actually going to have to pick Matt Riddle on this one again, because I want Velveteen to go ahead and come on up. Call him up, Vince. Call him up. He won his title. Now it's his time. Let the original bro surf and ride the wave of the NAC championship and have the Velveteen Dream come on up. I say this every pay-per-view. I don't get it every pay-per-view, but damn it, call him up. Call him up, Vince. Call him up.
I want one of two things to happen for Velveteen Dream if he loses this title. I want him either to get called up and be full-time on the main roster, or he needs to be next in line for the NXT Championship, and he needs to win it. Speaking of the NXT Championship, the final match on the card that I wanted to bring up, big match potential all over this. Behind Velveteen Dream, this is probably my number 2 and 3 on my favorite people in NXT right now. Johnny, Mr. Wrestling Gargano versus...
You mean Johnny freaking Wrestling.
Johnny freaking Wrestling. Who was Mr. Wrestling? I can't remember who that was. Maybe it was somebody back in the day. But
Mr. WrestleMania with Shawn Michaels.
We know who that is. But
obviously.
But there was somebody that was Mr. Wrestling. Anyway, it'll come back to me. I'll probably Google it later tonight before I go to sleep, because I have problems going to sleep and I just Google random shit before I fall asleep. But Johnny freaking Wrestling versus Adam Cole, baby!
Baby!
2 out of 3 falls for the NXT Championship. If this match has not been given the blueprint for match of the year, and I know I say this probably every takeover that one of the matches is going to be match of the year or has match of the year qualities written all over it, but 2 out of 3 falls. Adam Cole, baby. Johnny Wrestling. Johnny Gargano. The heart and soul of NXT for the last, it doesn't even matter how many years. It's hard for me to make a decision, honestly. All that build up to talk about this match, and I still couldn't pick anybody. So I'm just going to randomly select one person. I'm going to say Adam Cole, baby, is going to walk out as the NXT champion. 2-1.
Well, you and I are not so different on this one. It's the year of undisputed, and I'm not going to dispute the fact that Adam Cole, baby, will yet once again play spoiler to Johnny Takeover, a.k.a. as a Velveteen Dream so lovingly call it, Johnny Failure. It wasn't the first person to call him Johnny Failure, but he's going to have to relive that moniker, because we already know that Adam Cole, baby, is going to win this one. Well, I actually don't know. I'm just making my prediction.
I'm just thinking of it. It's funny. This is grown. Once again, it's grown man shit that I'm thinking of right now. I'm thinking like tomorrow, like it's gonna be hard to try to get home in time to make sure that I catch all of Takeover. After work. Wait a minute, I'm off tomorrow. Never mind. I'll put it off. I'll be able to make it. But this Takeover is gonna be, whew. And it's crazy that you're gonna line. We're lining up 5 matches versus 16 matches. But damn it, if that's not a strong 5 to go out there and throw on a Friday night.
I appreciate WWE for making the move of putting Takeover on Friday, Hall of Fame Saturday, because we're going to need to calm down. We have a whole day to calm down and let everything just marinate and soak in from how great this Takeover is going to be before we go into the big dog, before we approach the yard of the longest yard that is going to be the 16 match WrestleMania. We needed something like that in the middle to break up. Having 21 matches in 2 days, whew, that's a lot for any wrestling fan to take in. 16 is going to be tough to swallow. But 21 in 2 days, thank you for putting the Hall of Fame right in the middle of it.
So speaking of those 16 matches, it's time for the quote-unquote main event of the show. WrestleMania, the granddaddy of them all. WrestleMania 35. Damn, WrestleMania has been around a long time. Damn, I'm old. Because
the first WrestleMania happened, I was one.
I wasn't born yet for the first WrestleMania. I was what? Let's see. So by the time that I came around, WrestleMania 3 was going on. And it's funny because I think of the time frame, and I've lived through a lot of WrestleManias, y'all, so don't go in on me out there. But I think back to the time, remember when Pete Rose was appearing at WrestleMania and getting tombstoned by Kane?
Of course. Of course I remember that.
I can't remember who made the comment, but somebody made the comment that, oh man, this is going to, if he keeps this up, he's going to still be getting tombstone at WrestleMania 30. It's WrestleMania 35. We're officially past that point. Like, that makes me feel so old right now. Anyway, jam-packed show on WrestleMania this weekend. The show is probably going to, I'm expecting this to go around 5 hours. I got a long day ahead of me. Shout out to Quarantine Radio out there. Shout out to my homeboy Darnell and their whole radio show over there. I helped Darnell film games for his actual women's flag football team that he has called the Gridiron Game. Yes, wrestling is deep. We can't get rid of wrestling. But I'll be filming some women's football games earlier in that day, and then I have to prepare myself to go to WrestleMania, to go to a WrestleMania party and watch the entire show. So please believe I'm going to have Red Bulls and Monsters on deck all weekend this weekend. Also, my mother's birthday is this weekend. Also, Saturday, I'm probably going to go watch Monster Trucks because my nephew's birthday was this week. So, yeah, it's going to be a jam-packed weekend for Mr. Riddy, for Jay Riddy in the buildings. But without further ado, pre-show matches that we have so far. Women's Battle Royal. So far announced, there's only been about 12 people that have been announced. Dana Brooke, Mickie James, The Riot Squad, Asuka, Carmella, Naomi, Lana, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Zelina Vega, and Nikki Cross. Of course, there'll probably be others, but those are the only 13 entrants that have been announced so far. Out of the people that have been announced, do you think that either of those women are going home with? And if so, who?
Well, obviously, I have a couple of top picks. She could do it for the second year in a row. She won the inaugural. So why not have Naomi win it again? But then again,
I don't want to say that.
Again, I wasn't finished. But then again, why not have the winner of the inaugural Royal Rumble, Asuka, win it? How about we just say, forget the predictions on this one and ask, why are they not giving them an opportunity
at the women's title?
Yes, thank you.
My exact thought process. And the person I want to win this battle royal would probably be the leader of the Riot Squad, none other than Ruby Riott herself. That would probably be my number one person that would go forward. Sleeper pick would be Dana Brooke of all people. I know a lot of people are probably pissed off about that one and want to fight me square up. I don't care. I like Dana Brooke.
I like Sonya Deville.
You know, I like pretty much all of these women that are in the match, honestly, for more reasons than one. But
I see it. Really.
I was sitting there pondering on that same sentiment that you were giving. If we're gonna have this battle royal, all right, we already had the Royal Rumble earlier this year. We're gonna have this battle royal that you're gonna throw me in on the pre-show, and I win this here. What's in it for me? Like, what does this do for me in my career? There's no mid-card women's titles that you can put up for grabs here. So why am I not getting a chance to go against either the Raw or SmackDown Women's Champion if I win this tournament?
Because they're about to have a winner-take-all match where that one person is going to hold both titles, therefore unifying the titles. So we're going to need a secondary title again, since it is a winner-take-all match, unless that one person is going to go on both shows carrying both belts all the time, back and forth, and become the first ever undisputed women's champion like Chris Jericho did when he beat The Rock and Stone Cold in the same night. Some more wrestling knowledge for you youngins out there.
They don't know. They don't know. We can't fill them up with so much culture right now. They don't know how to process all of that. But for me personally, like I said, I'm gonna go for Ruby Riott in this one. Is there anybody that you would really like to see win this one?
Actually, I do like your pick of Ruby Riott because you have a group who have zero claim to fame. And they are supposedly one of the most dominant women's groups right now. Supposed to be. Even though they always end up getting their asses handed to them by somebody bigger. So I think that this will be a great push in the right direction for Ruby. I completely agree with that pick. And the other person that I would like to see as my sleeper would actually be Zelina Vega.
I would not be mad at that. I would actually like that. I would not be mad at that. I would like that.
I like Zelina Vega because of the fact that she's so small, she's so sneaky, but I would also love to see a return. And this would be my actual person that I really want, and that's Ember Moon.
Yeah, now if
Ember Moon is cleared.
Yeah, I agree.
Ember Moon is cleared, yes, I want her to win.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that train 100%. If Ember Moon is medically cleared to come back and she returns for this Battle Royal, she needs that momentum more than anybody else. Her start to her main roster debut was seeming like it was going to go somewhere, and then it just kind of fell off. And then we saw her husband say some not so pleasant things about Nia Jax and her in-ring ability, which probably knocked her down the line in itself. And being a black woman in wrestling, it's already going to be hard for you to get over. You don't need the type of distractions of having a husband be so outspoken and talking shit about other people. That's going to do nothing but derail your career. Unless you're Ronda Rousey, which you can pretty much do anything the hell you want anyway. But I'm definitely on that Ember Moon train. Next match in the pre-show, after we've done the Women's Battle Royal, Andre the Giant Battle Royal, you get the Memorial Trophy for this one. Big woof.
It's done wonders for Baron Corbin.
Oh, my goodness. And just, oh, my God. And think about who else won it. Mojo Rawley. He's had a wonderful career since winning it.
Absolutely. Big Show.
Did he ever officially retire?
Big Show has not officially retired, no.
I think that Battle Royal probably made that decision for him. Anyway, Braun Strowman is in this match.
Yes.
Braun Strowman is in this match, so unless you gave the scenario last week that unless the whole ring jumps him, there's no freaking reason why Braun Strowman shouldn't win this. However, we've already seen Braun Strowman win the greatest Royal Rumble ever. We saw him do well in the actual Royal Rumble from this year. And we know that he's going to be involved with the co-hosts of WrestleMania, Michael Shea and Colin Jost. So if I'm going to pick somebody, God, I don't really want to pick anybody because this is terrible for all of you. If anybody in this whole lineup that I'm looking at deserves this win, more than likely I'm going to say it's EC3.
My question is Lars Sullivan still even in the company, or what's going on with him?
Lars Sullivan, I don't know. I don't know. They haven't even aired any more vignettes about him anymore. I think he's forgotten. He's probably chilling at home until he finally gets released. That's my honest to God opinion. And then maybe you see him go to AEW and be mediocre there.
Because that was actually, if he's not released and he does end up in this Battle Royal, I would like to see him and Braun Strowman do their thing. I would love to see them two have a spot.
The only other person that I think could possibly win, just because he's been getting a little more TV time recently, is possibly them throwing out Shelton Benjamin as the winner of this one. I would be very shocked if he did. He hasn't really had a major win since coming back to the WWE, and we know he was brought back to be an enhancement talent, so we can't expect, mid-card or main roster, titles for him. But this could definitely be something that kind of appease him for a little while, and to keep some momentum going, just in case they want to do some other things with him and Paul Heyman post Brock. So those are my picks for the Battle Royal there. Last match on the pre-show, WWE Cruiserweight Championship, Buddy Murphy. He's on a hell of a reign right now as Cruiserweight Champion, going against Tony Nese, the masterpiece. My gut tells me Buddy Murphy is getting his WrestleMania moment to win here. But also, I would not be surprised at all if Tony Nese snuck a win out of this one.
I think that with Tony Nese being one of the originals in the Cruiserweight Classic, Buddy Murphy was not. I just have that sneaking feeling that it's his time. Mm-hmm. And they could continue to have good back and forth feuds between them two since they were aligned for so long. They were workout partners. Might as well have the Juggernaut drop the title to his bestie. Once again, it's the tried and true formula that seemed to work so well for Sammy and Kevin. And I'm just going to keep pulling up random besties who have done that. It's Worth for Trips and HBK. So, hey, if it's tried and true and it works, then it works. So, I've got Tony Nese.
Okay, so you're picking Tony Nese in this one. I wouldn't be surprised, like I said, if he won that one. So that's it for our pre-show. Let's start off the main card. We got some bona fide matchups on this main card. We were just talking
fresh.
We were talking
Sorry. Shout out to the professor and the doc on that one. Trash matches.
We got some trash too, but we got some hellified matches as well. As a matter of fact, we were talking some hardcore Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay shit last week about WWE, saying that why the hell did they not have tag team matches at WrestleMania? And damn it, were they not listening to us, Lady Grey One? We got tag team matches for both shows.
Oh, so it is official?
It's official.
The
we
Raw
got
official?
Yeah, we got
SmackDown is official. I don't know about Raw, but I know SmackDown is official. Like a referee with a whistle.
Tag team match, and surprisingly, this is also not listed as a pre-show match. So I don't know if it's on there for real. But hey, Wikipedia has it: the Revival versus the return of Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder, Raw Tag Team Championship.
The Naturals.
Mm-hmm. So we talked about some trash here, and In normal circumstances, I would say this match is going to be pretty trash just because nobody wants to believe in Ryder and Hawkins winning championships. But when you think about the original internet champion now, when you think about La Familia, the Edgeheads, and you think about the history, it's like I almost want to get behind them. But I love the Revival too much, and I'm going to have to go with the Revival in this match. But I feel like you might... Oh, go ahead.
I'll finish. Oh, I was just going to say that I think that this is what the original Broski and the undefeated losing streak
defeated
of Kurt Hawkins, this is really what they need to stop being jokes and start being taken seriously. And I believe we're going to have another Cinderella B-team story.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. It's like I want to get behind it, but we just got the B-team last year. And I don't know if I'm ready to replace the B-team with Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder yet. Also, I need a legitimate pay-per-view match from the Revival before we drop the titles from them. Just because, I mean, they're pretty much head and shoulders the best tag team on Raw. You know, they're one of the best tag teams in the company, period, no matter what show. But they're head and shoulders the best tag team on Raw. And with the Authors of Pain currently not being at 100%, only one of them is healthy enough to compete right now, I believe. I don't feel like the title should go to anybody else at this point. So I'm going to definitely stick with the Revival on this one. Okay.
Okay, I got you. I already gave you my prediction. I said we were going to have another story, another Cinderella story of Ryder and Hawkins. Even if it is a one-off and they lose it on Monday, I have a feeling that they're going to take it. And I also thought that this match was announced for Monday. I believe that's what they had said on Raw. I'm unsure. But I thought this match was announced for Monday, not actual Mania. Either way, I digress.
Yeah, I think they moved this one to Mania according to Wikipedia. Now, this is just what Wikipedia is saying. I have not been, informed formally whether this is an official match or not. So, but the next match, what is that?
I was just saying, either way it goes.
Either way it goes. If it's there, big ups to both of those teams. If it's not, are you really missing much for having that specific match on WrestleMania? It's not going to take away from the card. But next match on the card, Fatal 4-Way for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships. We got the current champions, the Usos, versus a team that we mentioned earlier tonight that it will be in their second tag team match of the weekend, championship match of the weekend. Ricochet and Aleister Black versus The Bar versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev. I picked them to lose their first title match because I was picking them to actually win this tag team match. So I'm going to go with Ricochet and Aleister Black in this one.
I'm going to say that I'm kind of torn on this because I can see many things happening. Because Usos, once again, I love them, and they are getting another WrestleMania moment. Thank you. Mm-hmm. They needed this. We needed this. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge, huge, huge Uso fan. But then again, what you said rings true as well for Aleister Black and Ricochet. It's not like they need this, but to legitimize them as a tag team entity, I'm not necessarily. Mr. VIP has said it before, and I've said it before. I don't like it when they take two random people who have nothing in common and throw them together as a tag team. But
these guys
this
have chemistry.
I was about to say, this feels a little bit more organic. They have great in-ring chemistry together. So, I mean, I love this team. Like, this is one of those teams that I didn't even have to know that I loved to know I loved it, you know? Because it just kind of felt right. But then again, Sheamus and Cesaro, the bar, tried and true, the trusty, rusty bar. You can't go wrong with those two guys. But then again, I've been waiting for them to split up for forever and have them go on singles runs again. Once again, like you said, like all good things must come to an end at sometimes. And I think that the bar is one of those things that needs to come to an end. And then you got Rusev and Nakamura. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't know what made them think in any way, shape, or form that this tag team works, but it works. It works. I mean, you're taking two guys who are like, one is pure charisma. The other one got started off of Rusev Day. And yes, Rusev Day will always live on in my heart and in my mind forever, even though it's officially over. Rusev Day, the memory lives on. And so, I don't know. I honestly do not have a pick in this one. I can't say a pick. Swerves and Curves is speechless. Wow. Nope, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, like, wow.
April Fools. It's a little late, but it's still the first week of April. April Fools, haha. No, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick my boys, the Usos. They're going to retain.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. We're going to keep going down the tag team list here. Another fatal four-way tag team match. This time for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. You got the current champions, the Boston Hug Connection, Bayley and Sasha Banks, versus a returning Glamazon, Beth Phoenix and Natalya, versus the Iconics, versus the Samoan Badasses, Nia Jax and Tamina. I, for one, am just excited to see Beth Phoenix back in the ring for this one. I think that's my biggest thing about this match. Other than that, I'm always going to pick the Boss Hug Connection until they get the right feud. So don't get me wrong. Respect to the other teams in this match. Respect to the returning Glamazon. Boston Hug Connection are winning this one for me.
Well, all I have to say is these women annoy the crap out of me, but it's iconic for me. I don't know why. I don't know how, but I just feel like Billie Kay and Peyton Royce have been like just those gnats that just keep buzzing around your head that you, no matter how many times you swat at it, they just keep on lurking. They're still right there. They're still right there. And they came up together as a tag team through NXT. They've been tagging together. I mean, they're sneaky. They're dastardly. They're iconic. And I just actually like to say, iconic.
Iconic.
And I puff my chest out just like they do. And I'm not going to pick them. Swerves and curves. Swerves and curves, yeah. I had to do it again. No, but because of the simple fact that Beth Phoenix is returning, that gives a lot of momentum in their favor for the Divas of Doom, Divas of Destruction, whatever they refer to themselves as. And Nia and Tamina, Tamina's been there for so long that she has not won anything. And my heart goes out to Tamina. And I think that Nia and Tamina are actually going to take it this time.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I went with two Samoan teams.
I
did it.
I didn't realize there were two Samoan teams that were going for the titles that night. Wow.
I did it. And then Roman is going to win his match too against Drew McIntyre. I'm picking out Samoans.
I was just gonna say the next match to jump into, Roman versus Drew McIntyre. Oh my goodness, this is hilarious. This is hilarious.
This is not scripted, ladies and gentlemen. This is live. This is right off the top of our heads. We do not have scripts in front of us.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. They need to add another WrestleMania match to the card. It's me versus my allergies because they are kicking my ass right now. But Roman Reigns.
And Pollen for the 3 count.
Oh my goodness. Pollen is like the reigning defending champ around here right now.
It's undisputed, man.
Undisputed. Ugh. I tell you, North Carolina in the spring. Ugh. But
it snowed on Tuesday. It was 75 degrees today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Welcome to North Carolina, boys.
Mm-hmm. Someone once said you can't have all 4 seasons in 1 week. North Carolina said,
hold
hey,
my biscuit.
Hold my sweet tea here. I got this. I got
hold
this.
My biscuit. We got it. We're good. Hold my beer.
Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. So you've given us Roman as returning on this one. I'm gonna have to go Roman too. Roman's not losing his first match back at a major pay-per-view at WrestleMania. He's not losing this match. He just beat leukemia. You mean to tell me he beat leukemia? He's not gonna beat Drew McIntyre? Drew McIntyre just washed both other members of the Shield within the last month. You think Roman Reigns is not gonna avenge him? They're gonna let Drew McIntyre run through the whole Shield. While I would be impressed if they did let him do that, I don't see it happening.
Yes.
Roman Reigns is...
I would love for it to happen. I would love for Drew to beat Roman. I would love for Drew to establish himself as a top guy. I would love for that to happen. I would love to see him every week with that shiny red belt wrapped around his waist. I would love for Drew McIntyre to be that guy. But he's not going to be the guy.
I could see...
Sorry, Roman.
Yeah, I could see Drew as one of those guys that could be making the move to Team Blue in the next couple of months. Just saying. Next match on the card, Intercontinental Championship match. Bobby Lashley, champion, versus... Now, they're saying Finn Balor here, but Finn Balor has already pretty much cemented the fact that you will be seeing the Demon at WrestleMania.
They already announced that they will be having the Demon.
So
it's been announced.
So with that being said, the Demon Finn Balor, WrestleMania, I'm sorry, Bobby, you don't have a chance. It's over. Finn Balor's walking out as champion in this weekend.
Yes, and I'm just ready to see that entrance. I've been missing that Demon King entrance. I mean, okay, little sidetrack here. I got to do it, though. Who else besides me watches WrestleMania just for the entrances? Just like it sometimes during the Super Bowl when it's 2 teams that I could care less about, like the Patriots for the 90 millionth time. I watch the Super Bowl for the commercials. And the commercials have let me down these last couple of years. So I like to watch WrestleMania, not just for the entrances. I love the whole show, but I especially love to see the entrances. Triple H is always going to have some incredible, over-the-top, like, killer entrance. He's known for that. Mm-hmm. John Cena. He's always these great, great, great entrances. I mean, with the 50 million Slim Shady John Cena's standing around there, with a real John Cena, please stand up. I mean, even though he still runs to the ring like manic. He took off flying down the entrance ramp, but still, he's had some of the greatest entrances.
It's crazy that he's not going to be in Mania. He's really not on this whole WrestleMania card.
So far,
but unless he's in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, maybe that'll make it a little interesting if John Cena just happened to come out of nowhere and win it. That might be the first time I get happy that John Cena won something. Honestly. But on the topic of entrances, and this will probably be the next match that I'm going to go into as well, there's one match in specific. There's one entrance that I haven't seen in a hot minute.
I walk alone.
If Batista, if David Drax Batista, yes, I used the name Drax, if he does not come out to his pyro, throw that whole damn match away. I don't care about anything else. I know Triple H is going to come out with something cool. This is Triple H's potential last in-ring match, and it's WrestleMania. And he's going against one of his Evolution brothers. Triple H is coming out with something hot. You know, you're not gonna get the doom 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 doom. Nah, you're not gonna get that basic ass music. You're gonna get something.
Bow down to the king.
Yeah, he's gonna come out there. He might as well. Matter of fact, if this is his last match, I want Triple H to come out there and combine all of his themes. Hit him with a little bit of the DX in the beginning, and after you hit him with a little bit of DX, just to get him just a little bit excited, then you hit him with that one self. It's this song. You know that was my favorite Triple H song. Honestly, that was my favorite thing.
But are we gonna do Triple H or Jean-Paul Levesque?
You can throw a little Jean-Paul Levesque in there. You know, back when the pedigree was actually a cutter. That was before, people don't remember. And Mr. VIP, if he was on here, he'll be the first one to tell you. The pedigree was originally the diamond cutter. He originally was doing the cutter as the finisher, and he switched over to the pedigree, and what a decision that was.
And that was also the Pepsi Plunge.
Absolutely.
CM Punk.
Absolutely. We've seen a lot of variations of it, but there's none like the pedigree. Triple H is one of those guys. This is going to be, it's tough to keep seeing guys that have come up from my childhood retiring off. Like, it low-key hurts a little bit because it really, I've said it a lot on this show tonight, it really makes you realize how old you're really getting. So I'm not going to say I'm old right now because I still feel young and spry. But just know that Triple H was a major part of wrestling from my childhood. And, you know, my brother, one of my best friends, probably my best friend in the whole world, Wayne, I know he was a huge fan of Triple H growing up. We had countless battles. And if he's listening to the show, I know you're probably listening to the show out there at some point, Wayne. But countless battles, SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain, or either the original SmackDown versus Raw, The Undertaker versus Triple H. That was our one-on-one matchup that we fought religiously to the point that we knew each other up and down. And the thought of Triple H, this potentially being his last match, like, that was the thing that's been in my mind and my heart always. Like, damn, man. Triple H has been a big part of wrestling throughout my entire life. Not just my childhood. My entire life, pretty much, Triple H has been there. And, yeah, that one's going to sting a little bit to see him go. But no holds barred match, Triple H versus Batista. Triple H loses. He retires from in-ring competition. It's time for Triple H to retire. There's no other matches that you can possibly see him in. Everybody in his generation that was around with him, he's already had a last match of some sort with all of them. With John Cena, you know, with The Undertaker. He's had a match with Shawn Michaels and besides Shawn Michaels, so to speak. He's fought Brock. You know, there's nobody left for Triple H. If Triple H wins this match and he still does in-ring competition, the only thing that you'll see him do is probably maybe put somebody else over, you know, over the next couple of years. But other than that, I think that Triple H is done. Batista's walking away, winning this championship. I mean, not in the championship, but winning this match and officially retiring Triple H. And it's no coincidence that DX is getting inducted into the Hall of Fame this weekend as well, so that further makes me feel like Triple H is pretty much done.
There is no other person who I feel necessary to retire Triple H other than Batista. Triple H has had some great feuds. And just for Batista to get his actual last opportunity, because the last time he came back, he was so screwed over because of the Yes Movement, then it's only logical for Batista to finally get his one shot to finish off Trips and lay the game to rest. So I think that's how it's going to go. I'm picking Batista.
Absolutely. Kurt Angle's farewell match, Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle. I really don't care who wins this match. Honestly, to cement his legacy, Kurt Angle should win. After he's gotten wins over the likes of Samoa Joe and Rey Mysterio over the past couple weeks, it'd be kind of dumb now at this point for him to lose to Baron Corbin, who doesn't beat anybody. But if he does happen to try to put Baron Corbin over, I mean, I see the positive in it, But at the same time, Kurt Angle needs to win this match and retire his legacy on a good note.
I'm still waiting to hear my time is now in that match. I have a feeling that, he beats Baron Corbin, and all of a sudden you hear that doom, doom, vamonos. I mean, come on. Come on. There would be nothing sweeter than all of a sudden. You cannot. I'm sorry, but that's like, if we're not getting The Undertaker this year, and we're not getting Cena, this is going to be the weirdest WrestleMania for me. At least, I mean, we got Trips in this possible farewell match. This is going to be Kurt Angle's actual farewell retirement match because the one in TNA doesn't count. Just like his TNA induction into their Hall of Fame doesn't count. None of those things count if it's not done in WWE. They don't acknowledge it, nor do I. And he should end his career versus the same man who came out and said that he had a ruthless aggression. And John Cena. To me, that's the only person I felt should have ended it when they initially announced it. Yeah. If not that, then I would have taken Shelty B.
Yeah, I mean, those are the only two that could legitimize the career by ending his career. But, I mean, we know it's his last match regardless whether he wins or loses. So, I mean, why make him lose in this instance?
Let him leave on a high note?
Yeah, let him leave on a high note. He's already beaten some great guys in the last couple of weeks, including some champions and former champions. So let him go out on a high note. Let him go out with a victory. But I would be excited to say if I saw him win and say if he made quick work of Baron Corbin and, like you said, just seeing his music hits out of nowhere, it would be a little reassuring to see that happen rather than to just say, all right, Baron Corbin is officially my last match, like I'm done. Some hellified matches to get to, so I'm going to try to get through these next couple to talk about the three main matches that I want to see left. First and foremost, Shane McMahon versus The Miz, Falls Count Anywhere match. Miz is definitely winning this match. We just saw Miz beat the whole entire Sanity in a Falls Count Anywhere match this week.
Clean.
Yeah, and I'm a Miz fan through and through, but there's no fucking way that he should have beat Sanity in a Falls Count Anywhere match. I understand the object of the thing is to separate people and use weapons. And I understand the logic behind the match. He didn't go out there and squash them, but at the same time, it's just like, I really don't see him beating three humongous guys, or 2.5. But yeah, I'm picking Shane McMahon. I mean, not Shane. I'm picking The Miz in that one. He's winning that Falls Count Anywhere match. Who you got in that one?
It's going to be awesome. I mean, I'm picking Miz.
Damn straight. United States Championship match, Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio. I got Samoa Joe retaining.
If this match actually happens, because Rey Mysterio looked like he tweaked that ankle pretty good in his match against Baron Corbin. So this match may not happen with Mysterio. And if not Mysterio, then the person I want them to put back in that spot would be Mustafa Ali to get a little bit of revenge. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Ali to get a little bit of revenge because they dropped the Mustafa part.
Damn straight. Okay. So,
But Joe's my winner.
Okay, so we're picking Joe for this one. Okay. AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. Now, I said I was going to go through these matches quick, and I am. And don't be confused by me going through this match quickly. It's definitely because of the mic work in the last couple of weeks. I've ended up getting really excited about this match. It's almost like having TNA versus WWE, so to speak, in this match. And that's what's really making it exciting. Not Impact Wrestling. This is TNA. The Heart and Soul versus this is what we all would have paid good money to see 10 years ago in a one night only match. The best at the time in WWE, arguably, versus the best in TNA, arguably. So at this point, because of all the emotion behind that, I'm excited for it, and I'm going to go with Randy Orton to win this one. Shocking, but I'm going with Orton to win this one. Orton hasn't gotten a big win in a long time, and
not going to get one tomorrow night. I mean, on Sunday night, I guarantee you.
I feel like
he's phenomenal.
I feel like he is, because if this is still Vince's show, Vince is not going to put all of that emotion of TNA versus WWE into this match and have TNA walk out as victorious. Randy Orton's winning this match. Because
of the fact that WWE got the last laugh, that's why TNA is going to sneak up and surprise you. That's why AJ is going to win, because they allow Orton to get the last laugh. And remember what Vince said a few months ago. He said that he wanted to see if AJ Styles really had what it takes.
This is the way to prove it.
This is the way to prove it.
This is the way to prove it. Only way we'll find out. We got to watch. Now, the three major matches that I really want to see on the card.
You can fast forward through one of them.
The Universal Championship match. Brock Lesnar, current champion, versus Seth Rollins. I'm not even going to bullshit you and say that I want Brock to win this match. Everybody and their mama wants Seth Rollins to win this match. And I have not wavered from that since Seth Rollins won the Royal Rumble. And I'm not going to waver tonight. Seth Rollins is winning that match. We're going to get the Universal title back on Raw shortly before this whole Fox deal on the granddaddy of them all. And I think that you'll see Brock Lesnar go back to UFC for at least one marquee match this year.
I'm going to say every single time I pick somebody against Brock Lesnar has won. So I'm going to do a little reverse psychology here. I'm going to pick Brock Lesnar.
You're picking Brock?
In hopes that he's going to lose. In hopes that he loses. Every time I pick Brock.
That's exactly how I used to feel about Finn Balor. I pick him every month and he loses. And tonight I felt confident because I'm like, he's going to be the demon. He's not going to lose to Bobby Lashley as the demon, but stranger things have happened.
Yes.
If Finn Balor loses to Bobby Lashley as the demon this weekend, I know that Triple H is fucking with me.
And if Brock retains, then I know that Vince is fucking with me. So I'm going to pick Brock Lesnar for the sake of Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
Sorry, Seth. Okay. You know in my heart of hearts where I'm at. You know in my heart of hearts where I'm at, Seth.
So
hopefully, Okay, continue.
The last two matches on the card, man, and I am very much so emotionally invested into one of these matches. And I am very much, I know you're probably emotionally invested in both of these matches because there's some historic stuff going down with these two matches. First of all, Kofi Kingston's first one-on-one opportunity for the WWE Championship of his career at WrestleMania. And you guys, I don't really do a whole lot of recapping of Raw and SmackDown a lot these days. But if you watched SmackDown this past week, this past Tuesday, And you felt that energy when he and Daniel Bryan were in the ring, and Daniel Bryan physically stopped Michael Cole in his tracks from talking and pretty much said everything short of shut up. And Daniel Bryan let the crowd cheer for Kofi. It gave me chills because, and I'm going to try not to get emotional.
Again, the yes movement was happening again, this time with Daniel Bryan being on the opposite end of the spectrum.
I'm going to try not to get emotional because I know if Kofi Kingston wins this match this weekend and becomes WWE champion, I am a grown man. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm a grown man. I am 32 years old. I've been watching WWE all of my life. I'm going to drop at least 2 thug tears if Kofi wins this match because it means a lot to me. For me to see somebody that looks like me win the WWE Championship, which nobody has ever done. The marquee title in the company. Nobody's held it. We had The Rock, which I count him as a black champion. So I'm not saying Kofi is the first black champion, but this is going to be somebody that I finally feel like looks like me. It means that much to me, and it means that much to me because I have an 11-year-old, just turned 11-year-old nephew this week who loves wrestling to death. And when you talk about some of his favorites, he's quick to bring up Naomi. He's quick to bring up Ember Moon. But there's not a lot of male superstars that he likes that are successful single stars. This is an opportunity for my nephew to see a champion, a WWE champion that looks like him for the first time in his life and the first time in his uncle's life. It means that much to me. I'm that emotionally invested in this match. And with that being said, I don't even know do I have to say that I'm going for Kofi? I feel like after all that, it's already understood that I'm picking Kofi in that match.
When Daniel Bryan cut his promo and you could see the tears start to well up in his eyes, you knew that you actually had magic. You knew from the minute that he started dodging, the minute that, I hate to say this, but the minute that Ali took that fall, that injury, it was a spark. All everybody wants was that one opportunity, that one chance, that one shot. That's all that anybody has ever wanted. And they couldn't have picked a better filler. I have never been so emotionally charged for any 2 matches, so emotionally invested in any 2 matches in my 36 years on this earth as I am right now. I've had a lot of emotional moments, don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. I cried when Triple H and Undertaker and Shawn Michaels had the end of the era match. I cried when Shawn Michaels tuned up that band and yelled, "I'm sorry," and super kicked the crap, sweet chin music, the crap out of Ric Flair.
Speak on it.
I cried. I cried when I saw Ronda Rousey interrupt the Women's Royal Rumble, take away all the energy and point at that Mania side, making her debut, because I knew finally that things were changing. And I still am going to shed some tears once Kofi Mania runs wild on you.
Damn it, man. I'm going to say it's the allergies, or either somebody is chopping onions in here or something. But I don't know. It's hot. Whew, man.
Yes.
But, oh, my goodness. But, yeah, Kofi, I'm riding the Kofi Mania. I'm riding the Kofi Mania wave right now. As a matter of fact, Kofi wins this title, and he drops a new shirt, Kofi Mania, anything. I'm buying it the first day it hits the shelf. I'm that dedicated. The final match that I want to bring up here. Whew. The first time in WrestleMania history. We just talked about how long the history of WrestleMania is. Lady Great One said she was one at the first one. I said I wasn't born yet. In the entire WrestleMania history, it's the first time we are getting women to main event. Not divas.
Women.
Women are main eventing WrestleMania. And I hate that it had to be Asuka to take the L to enhance this match. But you have now both titles on the line in a winner take all. You got the baddest woman on the planet who dominated mixed martial arts for years and built a humongous fan base and decided to take her talents to WWE. We see people leave WWE and go to UFC all the time or do MMA. But it's rare that you see a star, a bona fide superstar, walk away from mixed martial arts and come to WWE. So to see her come to WWE, and then you have possibly, arguably the greatest wrestler of all time, whose daughter is carving out her own name and could possibly be the greatest women's wrestler of all time when it's all said and done, coming in as the SmackDown Women's Champion into this match. And lastly, you got the man who for years was a face in the company that people liked, but they were like, she's kind of bland. You know, she's okay. She's good in the ring, but her character's not great.
I will be the first one to admit it. I said that Becky was boring. I said that she needs something else because it just wasn't working. If you can recall on one of the first episodes that you and I did together, I talked about Becky. And I talked about how it was like Sasha. The roles had reversed. And everything I said about Becky before, yes, she was kind of boring. I admit that. Yes, she was unexcited. Tell me, honest to goodness, was anybody a straight Becky fan when she first came to the main roster 100% and stayed behind her the entire time until she became the man?
Not me. I'll admit it right. And before she became the man, up until that point, I was like, You know, and she was already a two-time? She was a two-time SmackDown champion, I believe, before the feud with Charlotte that kicked off the whole man gimmick. So it wasn't like she hadn't been successful. It was just, to me, there was nothing special. But she went heel and just something clicked. Something clicked. And now she is probably the biggest star in the company.
Yes.
So now you got all of those entities in one match for a winner take all. And I know y'all can't see me at home right now, but I'm standing up right now. I usually sit down for the whole show. I just started standing up out of nowhere just now. Like, this is bananas.
BANANAS. Because they ain't no holla back girls. They ain't no holla back girls. Okay.
I don't even know who I want. I don't even know who I want to win this match, Lady Great One. Honestly.
And I can't say as though I blame you, but I will take this into consideration. I've got a couple of theories here. Charlotte Flair has not lost at a pay-per-view. She's got disqualified, but she was not lost at a pay-per-view in so long. And so long until that time she lost to Becky. Now, another thing, this is under triple threat rules. So anything goes. Anything could happen. You could have a pissed off Asuka. You could have a rising 4 horsewomen. You could have so many combustible elements to watch. As my pick, as much as I hate to say this, my pick to win will be none other than the baddest woman on the planet, Ronda Rousey. I'm behind the man. I love Becky. I love Charlotte. I don't care what y'all say. I've always loved Charlotte. Charlotte is one of my favorite female wrestlers of all time. I put her on a pedestal like I put Victoria. And those of y'all who really know me, Chyna, Victoria, and Lita are my 3 favorites. Not to mention Ivory and Jacqueline. Charlotte's right up there now. I love Charlotte. The queen.
I think.
But it's so hard. I'm sorry?
I was just going to say.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think this is probably like one of the most excited moments that I've been for a main event at WrestleMania in ages.
I think I changed my pick like 4 times throughout this whole conversation. I'm dead serious. I have, in my heart of hearts, I picked Becky. In my mind, I picked Charlotte. But just knowing the upcoming move to Fox, I'm picking Ronda. Only because of that. And what else it could possibly mean. It's just something, that little nagging voice in the back of my head saying, Ronda. And I won't be all disappointed because I like Ronda Rousey and I really like what she's done. And she's came in. And yeah, she got a little botchy here and there, but she's still new. Remember, she's only been wrestling for 1 full year come WrestleMania. Only doing WWE for 1 full year.
I think right now, if I'm given a percentage on which way that I'm leaning in this pay-per-view, and not in the pay-per-view in general, but in this match, in this main event, it's going to go 35%, 34%, 33%. At that 35 mark.
That's 102%.
Huh?
That's 102%.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Brady was never the best in math. Let me tell you all that now, kids.
I thought you had that Scott Steiner math going on for real, bro.
You see? When you're talking about a genetic freak. Buff Bagwell, you ain't nothing but a Chippendale dancer. But, whatever the math. Because we all know at this point I suck at math.
35, 34, 31.
35, 34, 31. 31 is going to definitely be Charlotte. Which I think that it would cement some more of her legacy if she won this match, but it's not what I want to happen. But I also wouldn't be mad.
We're not going to be mad when everyone comes out on top.
Yeah, I'm not going to be mad whoever wins this match. But I think that's the person I would least want to win. At the 34 spot, surprisingly, it's probably going to be Ronda Rousey. Just because, man, just to have somebody like to go from UFC to the pinnacle of holding both titles in WWE, that would also cement her legacy.
As the baddest woman on the planet.
Absolutely. But at that strong 35, I'm putting the man Becky Lynch because of a few different factors which made me lean on her. And this could change at any time over the weekend. Don't get me wrong, people. But
mine too.
A, She won the Royal Rumble match. This was originally supposed to be a one-on-one match between her and Rousey. So
No.
that's my...
Originally, it was supposed to be Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. Becky was never a thought until Becky got hurt thanks to Nia Jax. Nobody wanted Becky really in this match initially. The plan the entire year was for Charlotte and Ronda. Don't forget it.
Mm-hmm. But
Because
since
she called her red carpet.
But since
before
her
Becky had her meteoric rise.
But since her Royal Rumble win, this was supposed to be those two on
Agreed.
paper. Now, since her winning the Royal Rumble, this was supposed to be her too. So that's my first factor on the why. Second factor, the man gimmick. We just talked about how she's become one of the biggest stars in the company just with that gimmick alone. Biggest fan favorite by far in the women's division. Biggest fan favorite. Probably the biggest fan favorite in the company, but by far, head and shoulders, the biggest fan favorite in the women's division right now. Bar none. That's my 2. 3, we know that over the last couple of months, they have been pushing her as a quote-unquote female version of Stone Cold Steve Austin. What would be more badass for Becky Lynch to do to be injured for the last 4 months, be put in countless cop cars, get the hell beat out of her with many different weapons, to walk out of WrestleMania as the first ever unified women's champion in WWE. The other 2 female wrestlers in this match, I talked about cementing this legacy. This would kick off Becky Lynch's legacy. This would kick off the man. Like this would officially say the man is legendary now. There's so much more to come after this now. And because of that, I'm going to go ahead and pick Becky Lynch for this main event. She's walking out as the unified women's champion.
If they're really wanting to make Becky Lynch to be the Stone Cold, the female Stone Cold, then Becky Lynch has to go up against the authority figure. Before she can win her belt, before she can be the unified, she's going to have to go up against Stephanie. She's going to have to fight against the Nod.
Oof.
She's going to have the cards stacked in her deck.
Ooh,
remember, she's already gotten arrested.
Ooh, Lady
She's had the mugshot.
That just gave me a thought. Ooh, if Stephanie McMahon comes down and interferes in this main event in favor of Ronda Rousey, and Ronda Rousey becomes a corporate heel champion, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is why I said I don't. My opinion might change multiple times this weekend. Just that thought process alone just now may have put Ronda Rousey as my pick for that match. You just changed my mind in less than 30 seconds.
That's why I picked Ronda. That's why I picked Ronda, because of the simple fact. I mean, there's got to be some way, somehow, either via trips, via Vince. I mean, Vince already threw a monkey wrench by throwing Charlotte into the match. So why not have the odds even stack more against her to keep her from being this top, this entity, this unstoppable movement right now as the man, than to have her have to have an authority fight.
Mm.
With Ronda walking away holding all the gold.
My goodness.
It wouldn't have the same effect with Charlotte.
It wouldn't. It would not. We already know Charlotte's great. Charlotte's probably the only person in this match that does not have to win.
Charlotte's already an 8-time champion. 8-time women's champion.
She's already won more women's titles.
Record.
Yeah, she's won more women's titles than anybody in history There's nothing left for her to do, really. She could leave and go to AEW at this point.
No.
We don't
No,
want
she
that.
can't.
We don't want that.
We don't want that.
We don't want that to happen. I'm just saying that, you know, if she decided to leave and walk away from WWE right now, she's, if not...
Her phone's going to be blowing up from every other promotion, period.
Hell, Dana White might be on the phone with her the next day and like, look, you guys took Rousey, bring your ass to UFC.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, the market for Charlotte would be hot if she decided to walk away. But I don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon. But Charlotte is probably not going to be that corporate heel champ. I mean, that would go ahead and make her a nine-time champion. Because you got to count that new title also as another title rank. That will make her 9 times. She's already at 8. I mean, she's quickly closing in on her father's numbers in half the amount of time. Less than half the amount of time.
And don't get us wrong here in the Marking Out Amongst Friends podcast. Don't get us wrong. We're not saying that she doesn't deserve it at all, because she's that damn good, so to speak. But man, it's just, we've seen her win so much that I feel like she doesn't have to win this match for her legacy to still be as great as it is.
Her legacy is completely intact, and there's nothing that can tarnish it right now, really. I mean, like, she is just that damn good.
Damn straight.
She is genetically superior. And that's not just a catchphrase. That's actually just true. I mean, there is one person who is a little bit more genetically superior, and that's the EST. So, yeah.
Ooh, I would love to see that.
And oh my God, I was just about to say, I cannot wait for them to be able to go and tussle in the ring. I want to see it. That's going to be a match of the year, guaranteed.
I need Charlotte.
If we can do that.
I need Charlotte to call her a ghetto girl one time just to piss everybody off. It put so much emotion into the match just from one. Like, I'm not losing to some girl from the ghetto. I'm royalty. I'm Charlotte. Black women all over the world would hear that. They don't even watch wrestling. Just be asleep. Just wake up. What did this bitch just say? Hold on.
Hold on, Barbie.
Hold on. Oh my goodness, I would love that. I would love it. Book it, Vince. You've been fucking with us for a couple of months now. I know you're listening because you've been doing shit that we said do. If you're listening to this right now, I need you within the next 6 months to a year to book Charlotte versus Bianca Belair. And I need some racial tensions to go on in that feud. For the culture. For the culture, of course.
Either way, there's got to be something to align Becky and Charlotte again so we can get the 4 versus 4 again.
Absolutely.
So, with Ronda having that heat, Ronda can hold that heat because Ronda is a much, much, much better heel. We are seeing it.
Mm-hmm. She's about
Ronda Rousey is a natural heel.
And it's because you feel like you get the general consensus that she was trying too hard to get people to like her when she got here. And it did nothing but build all of that. Like, all of her heel promos are real emotion. You know she's at home scrolling her phone, looking at all her mentions, dropping probably a couple of FUs to everybody that got something negative to say about her. Probably thinking to herself, everybody who's talking smack, like, I'll whoop your ass in real life. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what she's thinking in her head when she's seeing all these comments from wrestling fans. So just the fact of the matter of her getting to pour that real emotion into her on-screen persona, her on-screen character, this is going to take Ronda to a whole new level. And this is why signing her was worth it for this moment right here. And on that note...
Absolutely. Let's jump into the final thoughts.
We'll jump into the final thought. So I'll go first. Once again, I mentioned it earlier in the show. Personally, for me, other than this being WrestleMania week and WrestleMania weekend, and we having all this wrestling going on, I want to definitely give a shout out to a birthday shout out to my mother, turning the big 7-0 this weekend. So definitely shout out to my mother. Also birthday shout out to my nephew, once again, just turned 11. We'll probably be going to go see some type of monster truck show he wants to go. I've never been to one. I know he wants to go to that, so I think we're going to go to that at some point on Saturday. So happy birthday to happy birthday to both of y'all. I love y'all so much. Y'all are a big part of my life. And I love both of y'all. And that's my final thought.
My final thought is I would like to wish my wonderful, beautiful, absolutely gorgeous cousin Candace a very happy birthday. Your birthday is in less than 2 hours, technically, so to speak. Happy birthday, girl. I know you're not listening to this because you don't really care, but I wanted to shout it out to show that I care.
I know, Candace. Happy birthday, Candace.
Absolutely. And there is one more thing that comes to mind. I know we didn't speak on this, but since it's a final thought, I can freely speak on this. AEW just signed good old JR, Jim Ross.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally do not care.
I was going to say, I really could care less. I mean,
I personally I care. Good for them. You got some legitimacy to your company, but I'm still waiting to see on that show. I'm not trying to knock you. I just want to see how it's going to go.
And because
I wish you all the best of luck, AEW.
Because you brought that up, I do want to add one comment to that for the marks out there that are saying that AEW is going to put WWE out of business. First and foremost, get your head out of your ass. Secondly, we watched TNA sign all of the biggest stars in the company when they were around, when they were really doing numbers. We saw, and no other bigger signings than the likes of Hulk Hogan and Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff, and they still couldn't put WWE out of business. So with that being said, Jim Ross is not really going to make much of a difference. It might make the show a tad bit more entertaining because you know he's going to be announcing, but hey. But go ahead. I just wanted to make that comment.
No, you hit the nail on the head with that. And the other breaking news is the signing of RVD to Impact Wrestling. I didn't even know they were still a company.
I didn't know RVD still wrestled.
And that's our final thought.
So that's our final thought. It's been a great show, you guys. Once again, it's the Marking Out Amongst Friends podcast. If you're listening to us live, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to turn the notifications on so every week that we go live, you go live with us. Follow us on player.fm. Follow us on iTunes. Follow us on the Google Play Store. Also follow us on Facebook, Marking Out Amongst Friends, the page. Follow us on the Game Runners. It's been a real show. Hopefully I get to watch WrestleMania with some of you guys this weekend. Marking Out Amongst Friends, the podcast is out. It's wrapped up. But before we go, you know what I got to do. It's time
hit our damn music.
To hit our damn music.
He looks like a fan. He was marking out, man.
450 off the top with the topics. Leader of the new school, ain't no way to stop us. Mark it out, screaming loud, tell me who you with. Competition is none, cause we lunatics. Walk with me down these roads if you're all in. I love the feeling, baby, time to go to work again. Come together like a fist and we do it proud. Light it up and burn it down, cause we marking out.
He was marking out.